Unless this is your first day on the internet, I'm sure you've seen videos claiming you can sharpen a chisel in less than 5 minutes. Just 2 or 3 strokes on some magical disc and it'll be sharp as can be. I don't believe it. I've tried it, I can't get it to work. I have a brand new inexpensive chisel that I'm going to sharpen today. I'd like you to comment down below if you see me doing something wrong or if you see something that I'm doing the right way. I don't think there's any secret. I don't think there's a quick way to do it. Slow and steady wins the race. Let's get started. Pretty much any inexpensive chisel you buy at a hardware store or online is going to have these grinder marks on the back. And this is from when they flattened the steel to make a chisel out of it. And you can actually feel these with your fingertip. And you're not going to be able to get a sharp edge unless you flatten out the back of this. So that's the first step to sharpening a chisel. I'm not very artistic, so you'll have to imagine you're looking at the face of the chisel like this. So you have your tapers on the side, this is the top, and then the bottom across here. But with those grinder marks, this is exaggerated. It's going to be like this on the bottom. No matter how much sharpening you do to this face here, you're still going to have this ragged edge at the bottom. So that's why we need to flatten it first. All right, so I'm using a pencil case with a little bit of water and some dish detergent in it. And this is just a lid for it on a piece of non-slip shelf liner and a brand new stone. Just going to take this new stone, get some water on it, and take my chisel, and I'm going to lay it flat and just start rubbing it back and forth. And a rag's very helpful in this. And you should be able to see already how I have a high spot right here and a high spot at this corner where it's touching the stone but nowhere else is. So you just have to keep at it until you get these marks completely even all the way across the back. You don't have to go all the way down to the end. If you just do the first ½ inch or so, that's fine. But I might as well just do the whole thing. So that's much better. I think I got most of the grinding marks out. That took me about 15-20 minutes to do. Is there a faster way? I don't think so. Let me show you. Here I have a 1x30 belt grinder, and I think this is 120 grit paper on here, and a chisel that I've never tried to take the grinding marks off the back. Don't worry about the rust. If you're ever going to take a chisel to a power tool, make sure you have water nearby and dip it often. I'm going to try and flatten the back using this against the metal plate here. It looks much better. But let me show you something. Here's the chisel I just took off the grinder. Now I'm going to rub it on this flat stone real quick. So even though the belt sander made the back shiny, it's nowhere near close to flat. What happens is the slack in the belt wears down the edges. Because I was holding it this way, it wears down the edges more than the top. So this is high in the middle, so it's actually curved like this. It's not flat. So I don't think power tools are the way to go with this. Slow and steady. Now I'm going to move to this diamond plate. This one here happens to be 240, and again on the non-slip shelf liner. And I'm going to go back to flattening out the back. The price of these have gone down significantly, and it's a lot cheaper than using wet dry sandpaper. First of all, this stuff tears easily, and you still have the issue of it can bunch up as you're moving the chisel across it, and you'll wear down the edges more. These are nice and sturdy. They're on a piece of stainless steel, and just keep working at it, and it won't wear out like the sandpaper will. Starting to get shinier and a little more even looking. What you're looking for is for the diamond plate to take away the marks that were put there by the stone, and eventually this will be a nice even sheen from this 240 grit. And when it starts to get dirty like this, I just spray it with some Windex and shake it off a little bit. And back to it. So now you can see that it's pretty even sheen there. A little spot right here that looks like it's a little dished in, but I'm not going to worry about that because it's more than ½ an inch behind the edge. And if you've ever seen Japanese chisels, they're dished out the whole way along. As long as you have good even marks all the way around the sides and the front edge, that's good enough. So I'm not going to worry about that little thing there. And I'm going to move on to the next one, which this one's 400. And I'm going to keep going all the way until I get to the last one I have in the kit, which is 3000. That's not quite a mirror finish, but it's nice and even all the way across at 3000 grit. That's as far as I'm going to take it for the back. When you're done using these stones, make sure you rinse them off really well, because that black residue there, that's actually the steel from the chisel. That'll rust and ruin your stones, so make sure you clean them when you're done. So this next part is something that I really struggle with a lot. I've tried several of these honing guides, and this one works the best. Even though it looks just like the other ones, I don't know, maybe the other ones, the manufacturing's a little weak, or maybe I just got lucky and got a good one. This seems to hold the chisel pretty well. If you have a honing guide that you think works better than these things, I'd love to see it. I've seen a few online that look like they might do a better job, but I don't want to just start throwing money out and trying something that may or may not work. But the way you use these is you set the chisel in the grooves here, and it needs to stick out a specific amount. Each of them are a little bit different. This one needs to be out 40 millimeters. So I just made this little block of wood that I can use to set the stick out properly to get the right angle for the bevel. Then you just do the same thing that you did for the back. I'm starting with the stone to get rid of those grinding marks. But I'm not going to go back and forth. I'm just going to continually drag it this way. I'll lift up, set it back down, and keep doing this until the grinding marks are gone. Hopefully you can see I have a pretty consistent edge. It doesn't go all the way up the bevel, but I'm not really that concerned about it. I'm going to take it from here and go to the diamond stones, and again starting at the 240 and working my way up to 3000. I know some of you are going to say, what about the burr on the back? And I can definitely feel it. It's there all the way across, which is good. But I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm just going to take this and go to the diamond stones and worry about the front edge of it. I'll just let that burr hang out on the back for now. You could see there, that little piece there, the burr's starting to come off all on its own as I wear this down, because I'm taking off less material from the front with each grit. So eventually the burr is just going to pretty much fall off. So now that I've done the bevel all the way up to 3000, I'm going to see about that burr on the back edge. And I'm just going to set it down and drag the chisel off this way. keeping it as flat as I can. And now I can feel it a little bit on the front, so I'll go back to doing this. And I'll just go back and forth a few times until I don't feel a burr at all. Now let's do the obligatory, can you shave with it? I'll say yes. So I got this thing sharp enough to shave with, but it was a complete waste of time. I'm going to tell you why in a minute, but first let me say it took a little over an hour to get this thing into good working condition, flattening the back and getting a good edge on it. If you know any shortcuts that really work, because I haven't found any that really work, there's nothing that's going to get it done quicker. You just have to take your time. Unless, of course, you spend a lot of money on your chisels. Maybe they come pre-flattened. But let me show you why it was a waste of time to sharpen this chisel. Here I have 3 chisels. This is the one we just sharpened. Pretty good. I can shave with it. This is the one that I used to show you that it's probably not a good idea to use a belt sander to flatten the back of it or to even put an edge on it because it'll get too hot too quick. It's really not worth it. And here I have a really old chisel that I found somewhere, not even sure where. And I have my microphone right here. I want you to listen to the sound that this file makes. You can hear that's digging in, and it cut right into the edge of the chisel there. That's kind of jumping around. It's doing a little bit. This is a Craftsman, probably 40 years old, and this one's even much older. And it's just kind of scraping across the top. It's not really doing anything to the edge of it. So yeah, this chisel's nice and sharp. It's not going to stay sharp for very long at all. I don't know what kind of material this is, but this thing's basically trash as far as woodworking is concerned. Something like this, probably going to be okay. And this one here, definitely going to be okay. So yeah, you might save a few bucks, but I don't know that it's really worth it in the end because there's no way there's any hardness at all to this chisel. This edge is going to bend, collapse as soon as I start using it. I really appreciate you stopping by and watching this video. And for sure, leave a comment down below if you know of a better honing guide than this, because I have no way, I just can't do this with my hands. I know Paul Sellers and Rex Kruger can do it. I can't do it. I need a guide. I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with me. So let me know what you use.